Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I'd like to welcome each of you to yet another FranTastic InSights video segment, whereby we introduce you to some very prominent personalities, all of whom are having a very positive impact on the ever-growing world of franchising. My name is David Craghead. I'm the Chief Franchise Expansion Officer for FranServe, and today I'll be your host for this week's FranTastic InSights video podcast. FranServe, for those of you who may not be familiar with us, is recognized as the world's largest franchise consulting and expansion organization. Our mission is very simple, and that is we change people's lives in a very positive way through franchise ownership, and we do that through a rather large network of incredible franchise brands in 39 different industry categories. Our growth initiatives are supported by a growing portfolio of franchise consultants. The world refers to them as franchise brokers. They're all the same people. They're all dedicated to helping their clients explore franchise opportunities, which are deemed to be a perfect match for their individual search criteria. It's all about matching the right client to the right brand. And today I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Nicholas Papanier Jr. Nicholas is the owner, president, and CEO of a very dynamic food and beverage franchise by the name of PrimoHoagies. I'm sure many of you watching this podcast have eaten some of their delicious food at their locations. They are nationally recognized as one of the fastest growing sandwich brands on the East Coast. And under the leadership of their CEO, Nicholas Papanier, who's with us today, PrimoHoagies has achieved impressive milestones in growth. They celebrated their 30th anniversary in 2022. Yeah, they've been in business for 3 decades. And just this year in 2024, they opened their 120th location. So, Nicholas, thank you for joining us today. As I pass the microphone to you, please share your business model description and the latest perspective on the popular franchise brand known as PrimoHoagies.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. PrimoHoagies was founded in 1992. We started franchising in 2002. Currently, we have 120 locations opened. We have another 80 in development. We should finish this year with 125 to 130 opened and operated. And by the end of 2025, we should be in that 160 to 170 range. The thing that differentiates us a little bit from our competitors, we're still family owned and operated, which we pride ourselves on. And I think the biggest thing that differentiates us from a food perspective is that we really do use high quality meats and cheeses, and it's on our award-winning seeded bread.
Okay. And I would imagine PrimoHoagies has a mission statement. Would that be correct?
Yeah, we do. So we have a few. Our biggest one is it's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo, and it's not just a franchise, we're a family. That's my favorite one. And we truly believe by that. We treat our franchisees like they are family because it is all mom and pops, which franchisees technically are. So we really believe in that, and we really like to get involved in our local communities and charities. And that's our other arm of our franchises, Primo Cares, which we can dive into later.
Okay. You know, America loves hoagies. We love big, thick sandwiches. What are the most significant differences and advantages of your brand as compared to similar brands in your industry?
Yeah, so I think the biggest significant is the quality of ingredients. And I know I mentioned that earlier, but it's actually my family's homemade recipes. So it's my grandmom's meatballs that were served on our Sunday dinner plate actually was reproduced and manufactured for the system. So it's a third pork, a third veal, and a third beef, which to get in a commercial, especially a QSR space, a meatball with them kind of ingredients, you just don't see. Our turkey, it has our brown coated flavoring on it. Our roast beef is made to our specs with, again, our flavoring on it. Even our ham capicola, it's got a seasoning on it that's a family recipe. So I would say there's about 10 or 12 different items on the menu that are only specific to PrimoHoagies because they're actually my family recipes, and we take pride in enjoying them.
Are you forecasting any significant changes to your business model or even your menu over the next 1 to 3 or 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so we always take a look at our, we do a menu redesign every 2 to 3 years. I guess ever since the whole COVID thing, we kind of adapted on the fly a little bit. So it's been probably like every 1.5 years. We're trying to take some menus off the items off the menu because we have an expansive menu. We have over 60 sandwiches, and a lot of them are the same ingredients. So we're redesigning that a little bit, adding some new sandwiches, taking some sandwiches off. So our biggest add-on was the cheesesteak over the last couple of years. Our cheesesteak has been incredible success. It's actually ranked up there. It's probably our number third serving sandwich right now.
As I travel across America, I noticed that some franchises in the food and beverage space have different regional flavors from one region to another. Is your menu affected by the differences in culture and regions across America?
Yeah, so it's funny you said that. So we already started experiencing that over the last year. To bring up a specific example, we're in Louisiana. We're in downtown New Orleans. So we did a muffaletta sandwich. Also down south, so we have a hard, crispy bread. That's our signature seeded bread. A lot of people don't like seeds, or they don't like the crunchiness of the bread. So we came out with a seedless roll option as well. So it's a little bit softer, more your traditional roll that kind of goes with the rest of the country. Northeast is Pacific, they're foodies, so we have to change as we expand.
Yep, yep. I love New Orleans. Next time I go there, I'll be dining at your restaurant. Tell
Perfect.
us, tell us if you would, Nicholas, about the design metrics of your territories. How are they created?
Yeah, so we look at a couple different things. We look at the population density, we look at the demographics, we look at the market demand and the competition analysis. Where are our competitors? How many do they have there? And we're not going to just put a franchisee just to sell a territory. We want to make sure that there's longevity there as well. So I'm not going to sell you one. You come to me, you want to put one in Nebraska. Like, that's not going to work for us. But if you had 3 or 5 and we build it up where you're going to have brand recognition, I don't want to put a one-off on an island because you're going to fail. I don't care what you're selling, you will fail on an island by yourself. So that's important to us. So we look through about 5 different metrics, but the first one is, how are our competitors doing? Is there a market for it? And if there is a market for it, let's set up the franchisee for best success, because I don't want you coming to me in a year saying, hey, Nick, it's not going well. Well, it's not going well because no one knows us and we're in the middle of nowhere. So they're important to us. My biggest thing is, if we're going to open them, they're going to stay open. I don't want any closures. So, and we've been really good with that. Our closure rate is very, very low, the lowest in the industry from what I've been told, which is we pride ourselves on that.
Excellent, excellent. And I know franchise applicants really take a hard look at that. So I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
you say that.
Yes.
Okay. If you would, Nick, describe your brand's expansion plans with any really hot territories that you'd like our brokers to help you fill.
Yeah, so right now, I think the biggest leads we've been getting right now are in the Carolinas. North and South Carolina are very, very hot for us. It's probably the most leads that we get. And we also offer a ship and hoagie. It's called Ship a Primo service. And I would say about over 35% of the Ship a Primos go to the Carolina area. So that's a big one for us. Obviously, the New York and Massachusetts are really big. That's, I would say they're second and third, and then Ohio would be fourth. So there are 4 big regions that have a lot of interest in right now. And we just sold one in Charlotte through you guys actually last week. We just finalized that deal.
Very good. Which leads me to my next question. How would you describe the perfect franchisee? What do you want us to bring to you in terms of talent?
Yeah, so a perfect franchisee that have strong leadership skills. You have to have the passion for the food. You have to eat the food. You have to want to be involved with the day-to-day operations. You have to be involved in the community. You have to, be involved at the store on a professional level, making sure you have the outreach of the community. Because again, I don't want the franchise aspect. I want it to be a local mom and pop store. And I think that's the biggest hurdle as franchises that we face. I think a lot of people are under the misconception of that it's not locally owned and operated. So my thing is, to my franchisees, I want to, like, when we open a store, I want a picture of you and your family saying, hey, this is Tom and Mary who opened this store.
Good. Mary
is, mother of 3, and put the kids in there. Like, you are supporting a local family. Like, you are supporting a local business. It's not it's not this big franchise model where a lot of people tend to mistake that concept. So that is one of the big things that we always try and hit home on. And it's not just a one and done for the grand opening. We do it for different events, like different holidays, different YMCA, the local soccer, baseball. Like, get your name out there. Make sure you're part of the community, because if so, then the community is going to respond and they're going to realize, hey, that's Tom and Mary that own that shop. Let's go give them a play today.
Right. Right. Good point. Good point. Um, okay, we're going to bring you an applicant. They fall in love with PrimoHoagies. You fall in love with the applicant. They sign the paperwork, and from signing to the date they open their store, when can they expect to start making their first hoagie? What's the ramp up time look like?
Yes, I would just say everything's about the lease. So we have people get leases within 30 days. They already come to us already with a specific spot in mind. And if our back end analysis works out and we can sign, that's great. But once you get the lease, you're 8 to 12 weeks, and that's all dependent on permanent. We could probably get it in 6 to 8. Every region's been a little bit different with the permits, but I would say 8 to 12, 12 being max.
And tell me about your equipment requirements.
Equipment, we have a package through Single Equipment. And the good thing about us is there's no hoods and there's no grease traps. So there's no front in the tour. So it's a very simple build out. Everything is self-contained. So you have slicers, you have a couple ovens, and that's it. I mean, we're very simple build out. And if you look through our FDD, you'll see that our build out is actually very comparable or cheaper than most of our competitors, which we try and keep it that way.
What about the footprint of your stores? What's the square footage on average?
So our average is about 1,500 to 1,600 square foot. We have spaces that are as tight as 1,000 square foot. Obviously, there's no seating in there. And then we have some locations that are, 2,500 square foot, end caps with outdoor seated, indoor seated. But 1,600 is your sweet spot.
Looking at the training program, both classroom and in the field, can you describe a little bit about that?
Sure. So our training program is 5 weeks. It's 3 weeks actually in the store, making the hoagies, doing the back end stuff with our field reps and actually having consumer interaction. And then 2 weeks is with our POS system, our POS provider, learning the credit cards, learning how to back out refunds, looking at the loyalty program, looking at the camera system that we have. I want you guys to understand before you open that door that you're experiencing every which way. And then we have to do our Serve Safe certified to make sure that you're food and safety. So we're 5 weeks, but the good thing about us is once you open the doors, we're still there. We're there for about a week or two after you open the doors. We have one field rep for every 15 franchisees, which is very, normally it's like one for every 30 or 40 stores. So we're a little bit different on that, which is great.
And that field rep makes regular visits, I would imagine?
They make regular visits. We try and get to the store every 2 weeks. If you're out of market, we try and do something where it's at least a weekly call and a weekly follow-up. And then we have our operations team who is 24/7 via phone, text, or email.
Okay. Now, you've been very thorough with your answers. We sure do appreciate that. That's very helpful for the audience members. Nick, if there's one takeaway from this interview today that we may not have covered, what would you want our viewers to know about PrimoHoagies?
I think the biggest thing is, and I think we covered it, but we are family owned and operated, and that means a lot to me. It means a lot to my franchisees that have been in the system. Most of my franchisees been in the system for 15, 20 plus years. They know me since I was younger. They know my father. So that's important to us. We're growing. It's a lot of people, bail out and take a chunk of change from a private equity group. We're not looking to do that. We're family owned and operated. We have a solid team here, and I want to continue doing it. I love doing it. I love my franchisees, and I love being part of something. And Primo Cares is something we didn't really touch on, but Primo Cares is something we started a charity about 11 years ago. We get together for the holidays, underprivileged kids, and women living in shelter homes or abuse shelters. So we make sure that their Christmas and their certain holidays throughout the year are special. So that's a big arm that we do. So I take pride in it.
Very good. Well, Nick, I can feel your passion. It comes through loud and clear. I can see you have a lot of pride in your business model and in your individual locations. So very evident, very clear to me. And Nick, I want to thank you for the privilege of your time today. This entire interview will be posted on the FranServe support site for all of our consultants to see. It'll also be archived in the FranServe library for future reference. And very important, it'll be uploaded to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn so that the outside world can get to know who Nick is and who PrimoHoagies are. And with that, we will adjourn today's FranTastic InSights recording. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.